Unafraid, Reister or wrong, George Reister here, your man. First of all, happy Wednesday. Everything's great. So we got a couple great things up for you guys today. First of all, make sure you share the feed. This is going to be the greatest Unafraid show of all time. Every day is the greatest show, but this one right here, this one is going to be very, very interesting. So make sure you share the feed. First of all, the timeline of Willie Taggart to Florida State. You guys, I have a detailed timeline, whether you are an Oregon fan, Florida State fan, or just a college football fan, you are going to want to pay attention to this because there's nothing that's happened over the last month in college football that looks like amateur athletics. Then the Oregon coaching staff, because Florida State people think that Jim Leavitt is going with them. Got some information on that. Lavar Ball has spoken again. And Russia, they've been banned from the 2018 Olympics. So we are going to start. So I'm going to let everybody get in, but we're going to start with, as we do with the quick hitters for the day. First of all, Russia has been barred from the 2018 Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea. So, and they are because they were systematically doping. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Russia is cheating at something. Wow. You know, I never saw that coming. But any athletes from Russia who receive special they can receive a special exemption to compete for Russia. And guess what that means? They won't be wearing the Russian flag. They will, though, get a chance to. So they want to make sure that Russia finishes with 0 medals, as they will. So any athlete that gets to compete will have a neutral flag and be referred to as Olympic athletes from Russia. So, and I can't believe they cheated. Oh, my God, I can't believe it. Next thing up, Lavar Ball. Lavar Ball had the nerve, the audacity to come out and say that the reason why the Lakers' record is so raggedy, which is 8-15, is because his son is not playing in the fourth quarter. Wait, hold up. You're telling me the Lakers' record is raggedy because Lonzo is not playing in the fourth quarter? I'm a person who has been, I initially was out on Lavar. Then I was all in on Lavar. I do think he's a good dad. I believe all these things. However, at this point in time, the man needs to shut up. The man needs to shut up at this point in time because truth be told, Lonzo has been worse in the fourth quarter. I still think he's going to be a great NBA player, all of that, but he's been worse in the fourth quarter. 25% field goal shooting. 31% field goal shooting and 25% from 3 in the regular first 3 quarters, which is awful on both fronts. Then turns around in the fourth quarter, goes 25% from the field goal range and 17% from 3-pointers. And mind you, the Lakers, they need every single win they can get because there is no tanking. There is no tanking this year because they have no first-round draft pick. So, Lavar Ball, my advice to you right now, sir, just be quiet while you're ahead. And if I'm one of his kids, I'm thinking, hold up. I love my dad. I know the man is trying to have my best interest at heart. But at some point in time, I got to just, break off and do my own thing. That's what I'm thinking if I'm them. I'm like, hold up. Because his son, Lonzo, he just pulled him out of UCLA. Didn't even tell the coach Steve Alford. So he's with the take his ball and go home game plan. That's not a good game plan. I'm telling you that right now. That is a poor game plan overall. But now it is time for the meat and potatoes. What a lot of you guys came for today. What we're going to spend our time on today is Willie Taggart going to Florida State. You guys make sure you swipe up, share the feed now, because this is the part that you're going to want to, that a lot of you guys are going to be tuning into today. The timeline of events of how Willie Taggart got to Florida State, and then also, is Jim Leavitt going? and the ruse about that, because I do not believe at this point in time, I think it is very unlikely that he joins Florida State staff. Believe it's very unlikely. And let me explain to you why. So we'll start with the timeline of events. So obviously, I was not privy to the direct conversations. I was not in the building. I'm sorry, like on the phone when these conversations happened. However, some of them I heard directly from people who were in the room, or the people themselves. The people themselves that were doing this. But I can clearly read the signs now that the smoke is clear. So I tweeted out yesterday, I said Oregon made a smart move with Willie Taggart that came back to bite them in the butt later. Both the school, which had a 6.3 mil, well, it originally started as an $8 million buyout, to if they fired him, $4.5 million if he left. It was relatively small to protect themselves. They both did it to protect themselves. Oregon had just fired Helfrich, had to pay him $11 million. They weren't 100% sold on Willie Taggart, but they were like, yo, we'll give him a chance and we'll give him a contract and not be tethered to him for so long that it prohibits us from firing him. So that's the first thing. But the buyout on both sides was relatively low. And that allowed Florida State to creep in at $4.5 million. No, I haven't talked about what's going on with Leavitt. I'm doing that right after this, right after the timeline. And had his buyout originally been like $12 to $15 million, who knows if we would be having this conversation or if he had left to begin with. But here's the thing. We're going to start before before the Civil War. I'll explain to you guys about Tomahawk Nation and all that. So Willie Taggart, he's offered a contract extension to lock him up before the Civil War because the Florida job came available on October 29th when they fired Jim McElwain. However, and Oregon knew that Willie Taggart could be a potential target for Florida. So they offered him a contract extension. However, truth be told, Willie wasn't going to leave for that job. He was a Seminoles fan and was from Bradenton. Then fast forward, November 25th, they play the Civil War game, and they run the score up on Oregon State. I think it was 52-7 at halftime. Willie Taggart says it was for the players, but really it made him look good. It made him look good because he was potentially planning on leaving. And by that, I mean that by the time that the Civil War was played, Jimmy Sexton, who is his agent, had already had wind of Texas A&M wanting Jimbo Fisher because he's also Jimbo Fisher's agent, which meant that there was a possibility that Florida State could be open. Florida State could be open. So mind you that. And that Willie Taggart could be a potential target for them. So mind you. But he wasn't going to be their first target. They were going to go after Bob Stoops and all that. And he didn't get his contract signed in a timely fashion intentionally because he knew that he was going to have potential options. And Florida State could be one of them. And then Florida State and Jimbo Fisher part ways. Then fast forward, last Friday, Jimbo officially leaves Florida State for Texas A&M. The job is officially open. And Florida State starts doing all their homework and back channeling on who they can get. And people start seeing reports, you know, Willie Taggart is going to leave. Well, that Florida State is going to be interested in Lonzo Ball. I didn't mean Lonzo Ball. in Willie Taggart. And then Thursday, this last Thursday, Oregon and Rob Mullins are formally contacted by Florida State. And Taggart, he tells Mullins that he's been contacted by Florida State as well. Mind you, the reason why and you're going to understand why as we go on, why I believe Rob Mullins. And then I started tweeting about this on December 1st. I said, I just heard Willie Taggart's agent, Jimmy Sexton, is playing on Florida State's desperation. They need a Florida guy. They set all these requirements, and he's asking for $7.5 million for Willie Taggart, $2 million for Leavitt, 1.5 for the offensive coordinator, and $500,000 for the assistants. Sounds outrageous, but nobody initially believed that Jimbo Fisher would get 10 years, $75 million. So, mind you, and with that said, next tweet. With that said, Jimmy Sexton can ask for whatever he wants. Doesn't mean he'll get it. The Ducks are supposedly at $4.5 million plus bonuses for Taggart. The drama is anybody going to sleep until Willie Taggart signs his extension with Oregon. Now, mind you, Willie then gets in front of the media after practice on December 1st and says, that's the why wouldn't I press conference. Willie, are you going to be the head coach at Oregon next year? Why wouldn't I? You're going to coach the bowl game. Why wouldn't I? So that's the why wouldn't I press conference. And that's when I tweeted. I said, I believe Willie Taggart stays at Oregon, but I feel like I just watched this press conference today because I posted a video of his press conference at Western Kentucky when he damn near said the exact same thing. It's like a carbon copy with a different uniform on, and he looks just a few years older. That's it. And then all the articles. Oh, so then, yeah, so I was saying it looked just like the press conference at Western Kentucky before he took the South Florida job. Then to go on, the next day, early the next day. Oh, well, actually, the Ducks go back to practice, all of that stuff. And I say, Willie Taggart update. Ducks players are concerned about Taggart leaving. Some were crying in the meeting yesterday when Taggart was being honest with them about listening to Florida State offers. And also, if Taggart doesn't leave, mind you, this is all December 1st and December 2nd. If Taggart does leave, Brian Harsin, Justin Wilcox, Sumlin are going to be the top targets for Oregon. May consider Cristobal or Leavitt. Mind you, I have not said anything that's not true, that's false, that is misinformation, any of this. Not one single thing. And then go on, there are articles saying that Willie Taggart is in Tallahassee. I refute those. I'm like, he's not in Tallahassee. He's in Eugene. The Ducks are practicing, all that, right? So, mind you, and then Willie sends out a tweet the next day saying about recruiting and the future, throwing everybody off to save face, saying that, and then I said that if negotiations, that when he left to go on the recruiting trip, that if he left to go on the recruiting trip, then everything would be fine, everything would be resolved, this whole Florida State thing would be done. And mind you, here's where it gets interesting. Here's where it gets really interesting. I tweeted out on Saturday, December 2nd. Yeah, and I'm going to get to that. He said you skipped over the fact that you came out and said that Taggart was staying, no chance he goes to FSU. Mind you. So I didn't say 100%. I said I believe that he stays. There was no report. That was an opinion. There's a difference between a report and an opinion. So here it is. I tweeted, Major Willie Taggart update after the Big 12 championship and ACC games go off. I will be breaking down the entire situation and developments behind the scenes. That's December 22nd. In between the time that, so it's mind you like 3 hours or so between the time I sent that to the time I go on, I get a direct message. From Willie Taggart in my direct messages. And mind you, he told the media that he was leaving on the recruiting trip. So I get a direct message from him, the man himself, saying, I'm really disappointed that a former player will put out so much fake news. If you want to know something, all you have to do is ask. This is sad, but eye-opening. I hope you accomplish your agenda or whatever it is you're trying to do, go Ducks. So I reply to him. I'm like, yo, bro, like, what is it that I haven't said? All of this. So mind you, when people thought that I would, hold on one second, alarm goes off. Hold on, give me 1 second, people. Oh man. Listen, man, they trying to keep your boy from telling the truth around here, man. They trying to keep the truth secret, man. They trying to keep it. So I told you guys about the exact message that I got. So then, okay, Miles Battle just decommitted, pretty standard. Mind you, oh my gosh, Niche, take this. It's the alarm company.
Oh, okay.
Hello? Yeah. Jeez Louise, this is very unlike me, but whatever. So he sends a direct message. Let me start over. I'm really disappointed that a former player put out so much fake news. If you want to know something, all you have to do is ask. This is so sad, but eye-opening. I hope you accomplish your agenda or whatever you're trying to do. Go Ducks. Mind you, nothing I said in those tweets that I just told you was wrong. Nothing at all. And I told him, I'm happy you hit me, coach. I respect you. I'm not necessarily in the business of breaking news. I'm usually an opinionist, but this is something that means so much to me. I love the Duck fans with all my heart. God, family, then Ducks. It's very meaning for me, and I've literally called people at Florida State, Oregon, Nike, all that stuff. And I will tell you this. Are you completely open to having a private conversation? I won't betray your trust or reveal anything until you say so. Give them my phone number. Mind you. So this is how we do it. And then we're continuing to a talk. Okay. So, and that's what happened. So then I'm continuing to talk to him. And so I told him. And then I'm like, okay, so he told me to specifically ask him what he said, what I said. So here's what I told him. I said that here's what I've been told. Number one, that he may pull his name out of the Florida State running if the money's not right. That they're at $4 million, plus they won't pay his offensive or defensive coordinator over $1 million at this point in time. Private jets were also an issue for Jimbo and his assistants already. Those are part of the reasons Jimbo left. Number two, Phil is pissed. He believes Taggart leaving would set the program back 2 to 3 years and may not see a championship before he dies. Taggart made him promises of not using this job to make more money elsewhere and basically threatened him and potentially FSU's Nike deal. Number three, Phil plus others were willing to give a big money extension and bonuses but they want a big buyout, so this conversation isn't a conversation again anytime soon. Number four, the school wants the Las Vegas Bowl, so they have coaches, and if he leaves and assistants leave, school doesn't want to go to Cactus Bowl in case he leaves. They could be stuck with no coaches and trying to find a coach for one game. Here's what the man responded to me and said. You need to question your sources because everything you have wrote is news to me. What? Everything you wrote is news to you? You talk, mind you, this is on Saturday night before I was getting ready to go on. He had talked to Florida State on Thursday. Jimbo was already gone. His agent stayed in Tallahassee. Mind you, so he made me question what I was saying. So then I go back. Oh, so then he goes on to say, so I asked him specifically. I said, give me something straight. Are you leaving or not? Or don't know yet? He tells me, I have not talked to anyone. I can't help that nobody believed that. If I did, I would not have a problem telling everyone. And so I was like, oh, wow. I said, all right. Okay, well, I'll relay your message. You know what it is. Just got to keep grinding. So this is how this happened. And so, mind you, I turn around and go tell you guys on my Periscope that he hasn't talked to anybody. Mind you, that's not sources. That's coming from him. So, mind you, why on earth would I believe what when other people, quote unquote, have sources and I'm hearing from him? So I misled you guys, and I misled you guys because I was misled. So I apologize. First of all, learn the lesson with this one. Then, so to continue going on. So to continue going on, I said I changed my tune, all that stuff, right? So then, and I said that if he gets on the plane, recruiting, it's over, no Florida State. He had already had the FSU meeting set up on Monday. And Phil Knight had requested, and I tweet out, Phil Knight had requested a meeting before he made any decision, to ask for a face-to-face meeting before he made any decision. Then he goes on telling recruits that they need to be committed to the Movement 18 and be all in. Visit Tyler Shug. And I also tweeted out that there was going to be a major Florida State thing happen at 3 p.m. I was 100% right. It was the meeting that he was having in Arizona with them. And so, and also, I did not tweet this out initially because, mind you, from the direct messages, he made me question my other sources that were 100% right. So I didn't tweet this out giving you guys information because I was like, well, I don't know. Let me wait to hear from him. So I'm hitting him like, yo, what's up? And so he got mad at the Florida State meeting. They were at 4.1. He walks out of the meeting. Sexton stays, tries to fix the deal, and tells him, like, this is high stakes coaching. I'm going to get to Leavitt right after this. This is high stakes coaching. And Willie had never been a part of that. He wanted Scott Frost money and Mullins money and contract specifics in terms of cars, private jets, tickets for his family, swag, family travel, tickets to events, memberships to country clubs, all those things. He postpones the Miles Battle meeting because the meeting went long. And also, he knew what he was going to do already. Reschedules for the next morning and then postpones indefinitely. A plane leaves Arizona to go back to Eugene. The question is, was Coach Arroyo, on the plane, or did he stay in Arizona? Because the next morning, he does go to Houston to go recruiting. And also, while that was out, Coach Woody was spotted in Tallahassee. Coach Woody, who was following, who started following Florida State guys on Twitter on Monday. And their recruits on Monday. So, and that was confirmed. Mullins continues to negotiate. But really, Oregon was negotiating against themselves just to help push Florida State higher because he wasn't staying. And at some point, Mullins and the Duck people, they realized that. FSU, and this is Monday night, Florida State and Willie Taggart agreed on Monday night. I tweeted out, Willie's leaving and all that. Next man up. Everybody retweets it, but nobody important like a Bruce Feldman, who's great. You can when he says something, it's Bible. But I knew this for a fact. But then there was radio silence. Because when I sent it out, I was like, okay, everybody else is going to send this out immediately too. Like, this is going to be, news. And then, but it was radio silent throughout the night. Everybody's thinking, oh, well, he must be second guessing himself. All of these things. Nope. He was just ironing out the rest of the buyout details. And mind you, he was still recruiting for Oregon and telling all these kids, you got to be all in on the movement 18. You got to be all in on the movement 18. And I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning, and there was still nothing. And I knew that Willie Taggart and Florida State were still finishing minor details throughout the night, but they had an agreement. And everybody else, Canzano and everybody else, is saying, oh, there's no agreement. He hasn't let the school know that that he is leaving, all this stuff. I don't think he let the school know he's leaving, but Willie Taggart knew he was leaving. That night when I tweeted it out, I was 100% sure. But he made me question myself again because he went radio silent on me too. And I was like, oh, hold up. Let me read between the tea leaves. Coach Woody's there. He went radio silent because I asked him, oh, in the direct messages also, I said, listen, I'm going on after this. And if you're telling me that this is true, I'll go on and I'll say it's true because you're telling me. But do not make me look stupid. That's why I'm saying this right now. And mind you, and to go on to the next thing, he went radio silent. And I felt sick that next morning. You can ask my wife. You can ask my wife. I felt sick because I was like, nobody had confirmed it yet. And what if Willie had a heart-changing moment or his wife said don't go or whatever, and all these people ended up getting hurt. Duck fans ended up getting hurt. Florida State fans ended up getting hurt. Kids from both universities ended up getting hurt. So I was feeling bad myself. I was like, what if the man changed his mind? No, he didn't change his damn mind. He was waiting. He took so long because he had to go through proper protocols to get all this stuff done, notifying, writing, all this stuff. And then he wanted to talk to the team, right? Talk to the team. And mind you, in between that 15 hours, I wrote right after I found out that open letter I posted to Willie Taggart yesterday. I wrote that the night before. That's why as soon as he left, I posted it immediately. It was already written. It was already done. And this is, mind you, before I found out all of the rest of the stuff. But do I believe Willie Taggart's a bad guy? No, I don't believe he's a bad guy. What I do believe is I'll get into that in a minute about Willie Taggart and Florida State. I don't believe he's a bad guy. What I do believe is I do believe that Willie Taggart got in over his skis and all that, and that he was going, and that he was trying to protect his own interests. So I don't think that he handled the situation properly. I don't think he's a bad guy, but had he just come out and said, all right, look, I have these, I'm the Oregon coach. I want to be the Oregon coach. However, if some other opportunity comes up, I will listen. And then the next time they ask him about it, say there's no update. I will let you guys know as soon as I know something. But this silence, lies, and the manipulation, that doesn't look good and feel good. I get that he was trying to keep things quiet, but I do have an understanding why people were upset about him doing it the way he does. So I said I don't think he's a bad guy. No, it was not about the money. Like, do you understand? Oregon was going to give him more money had they believed that he would have stayed. This was not about money. This was about where he wanted to be. Oregon was geographically undesirable to him when Florida State became available. So I still stand by what I said in terms of I believe that when he showed up, that when Willie Taggart showed up, that he thought that he would be at Oregon for a long time. I do believe that. Nobody could have thought Florida State was coming open until when he did, after the season started. Then that's when things changed. And the kids get left holding the bag and all that. And here's the thing. Here's something in between the tea leaves. Willie Taggart never changed his license plate from Florida to Oregon. Mind you, just Just saying, because remember, if you look at McGraw, our player, McGraw's Twitter yesterday, somebody posted a picture of Willie Taggart going into Starbucks. He had his Range Rover there. It had Florida tags on it. Mind you, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because when I moved back from Florida to California, I kept my license plates on for 2 years because the registration in Florida, and I still have my house in Florida. Registration in Florida is $52, and in California it would cost me about $1,500. That's just to be honest. So the kids end up left holding the bag. And then, mind you, as soon as he leaves, you hear reports that Jim Leavitt is going to Florida State. Now, here's what you guys want to know. Jim Leavitt going to Florida State. I tweet out, Jim Leavitt is very unlikely to be joining Willie Taggart at Florida State. I get texts, I get direct messages again saying, oh, you're crazy. They said he's going, blah, blah, blah. So what do? Mind you, every contract for every coach is public information. It's public information. So I go on and read Jim Leavitt. I get a tip that I need to read Jim Leavitt's contract. Jim Leavitt's contract is the reason why I say that this is misinformation. Even if he's not the head coach at Oregon, he will probably not be leaving. And let me explain to you why. Florida State putting that out was an attempt to get Oregon to hastily name Jim Leavitt head coach instead of Cristobal. The reason why Oregon named Cristobal, mind you, pay attention to this, Oregon fans and Florida State fans and all of this. The reason why Cristobal was named head coach instead of Leavitt was strategy, because of their contracts. Cristobal has a 3-year contract at $700,000 per year with 2 years remaining. And if he leaves, he has to pay 50%, because it's fully guaranteed, 50% of the contract back. So he has 1.4 left on the contract. He has to pay $700,000 back to leave. And Jim Leavitt, his contract, he signed a 4-year deal at $1.15 million. It's 100% guaranteed. And 3.5 of that, and so he still has almost $3.5 million left on his contract. And also, if he terminates his contract before January, if he terminates his contract before January 31st, he also has to pay Oregon an additional $500,000. $500,000. So Jim Leavitt would essentially cost Florida State $4 million to get Jim Leavitt. Now, I believe it's possible that they can get Jim Leavitt? Yes. But does it make sense that his buyout, that Jim Leavitt's buyout, is nearly as much as Willie Taggart's buyout? Yeah, they're probably not going to be paying that. And then you add in what Jim Leavitt tweeted about, don't believe everything that you read. I do want to be a head coach, but I love it here at Oregon. So that's basically what he said. So that's why Cristobal was named head coach instead of Leavitt. And that's why Leavitt is likely not leaving Oregon, because he's got a 4-year deal, which makes sure that he will be there. And it would cost the team $4 million to get him before January 31st. And after January 31st, it cost him $3.5 million. And then you have to pay Jim Leavitt on top of that. That's what I'm saying. So who is Willie Taggart taking with him? Obviously, Coach Pimp, Woody, and likely David Kelly. No, there's no throw. Here's the thing: is there's no throwing money at Jim Leavitt. Jim Leavitt is still under contract, people. He's under contract for 3 more years at $1.5 million, which is fully guaranteed. That means, and in his contract, you can go on and read it on the Oregon website. He's likely not leaving because that's $3.5 million is going to cost. $4 million if he leaves now. And Oregon wanted to make sure that Cristobal, and in addition, Leavitt can't even possibly leave until after the bowl game anyway, contractually. Cristobal could have left. All they had to do was give Oregon $700,000. So what this gives Oregon is an opportunity to negotiate with Cristobal a new contract to get him to stay in whatever capacity that they want. So then you can bring in Kevin Sumlin, keep Cristobal, pay him instead of $700,000, you overpay him just to make sure he can't go to Florida State. Give him the same deal that you gave Jim Leavitt. Give him the same deal. And then you get him to stay likely. And obviously, Coach Salavea, he probably stays if the new head coach wants him. And I don't know why you wouldn't. He's one of the best D-line coaches in the country, and he's Polynesian and gets those guys up there. Coach Arroyo, he's the guy who's going to have a lot of options because, mind you, Jeff Tedford, who's at Fresno State, his offensive coordinator may be leaving. And then he may replace him with Arroyo. So Arroyo's going to have options. And Hayward, who is the DB coach, we may be able to retain him as well. Do I think that this is a good contract for Florida State? Yeah, because they got the guy they wanted. There are a couple recruits that may go to Florida State or may flip or leave or whatever. And those recruits, I mean, obviously, Miles Battle just decommitted. Not mad at that. He got screwed in the situation. I don't blame him. He's going to wait till the new coach comes in. I believe that Tyler Shaw will stay as long as the coaches stay. No, I don't believe that Jim Leavitt will be going to the Noles. That's just the truth. My head coaching prediction is probably I would like Kevin Sumlin. He would be my first choice. And then if not, I consider hiring Leavitt or Cristobal. But I don't go too far down the list. I don't. Do I think that this is a good hire for Florida State? Potentially. Potentially. The man recruits Willie Taggart recruits. And if you are a great recruiter, you can win. You can win simply because your guys are head and shoulders above other people's talent. I don't want Jeff Tedford. Even though I like Jeff Tedford, he would come in running a pro-style offense, and that's not what the fans want to see. That's not what players love to play in, all that stuff. Yeah, so let's keep it high-flying, keep the brand. Yeah, so that's where we are at. You guys, the Unafraid anonymous emails are coming out today as well. There will be some great situations, great questions. We'll be back on The Wife and the Expert today in a couple hours about that as well. We'll be going in on that. Super excited. Why Sumlin? Why do I want Sumlin? Because Sumlin can recruit. Sumlin is a top recruiter as well. He did it at Texas A&M. He's been a winner, never lost more than 8 games. Would I consider Lane Kiffin? Maybe. If we strike out on Sumlin, if you lock Lane Kiffin into a big time buyout, oh yeah. And as long as he doesn't do anything stupid off the field, like messing with the co-eds, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. But Oregon fans won't really want a Lane Kiffin because they'll be afraid he'll leave in 1 year like he did. Will Phil Knight pull Nike from FSU? Doubt it, but you never know, man. He's getting ready to be 80 years old, and old people get mad sometimes. When old people get mad, boy, you cannot predict the future, boy. Cannot predict the future. Wilcox. Oh, I forgot about Justin Wilcox. I played with Justin Wilcox. Like him. He's been doing well as a defensive coordinator. He's good. Put your shoes on. He's doing good. Is Chip an option? No, absolutely not. Chip is not an option. Costs too much money to get Chip, and Chip would look like a turd for switching up on UCLA that quickly. I do believe we have a really good chance of keeping the coaching staff together, at least the majority of it. Hurry up, man. What do I know about Mitch McEwen? Not a whole lot to give you guys like expert advice on this. Thank you guys for joining me today. Right or wrong, unafraid. I'll put up some clips to this. You guys make sure that you guys share this feed with people. Tell them to watch it. Giving them the update on Cristobal. Giving them the update, the timeline on Willie Taggart. All those things. I don't think that Taggart's a bad guy, but you know these are the things that happen in amateur athletics. It's not amateur athletics. You guys, thank you guys for joining the Unafraid Show. I appreciate your time. I'm going to keep bringing great content every single day, whether it's about the Ducks, whether it's about pro football, baseball, whatever it is, the hottest stories of the day that you guys want to hear. Peace out. I'll see you guys in a little while, actually.